Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Leonela Torres. I am a member of KQED's Community Advisory Panel. We are a group of community members that meet 6 times a year to support, give feedback, and engage KQED in community building. Learn more about our work at kqed.org/CAP. I want to begin by acknowledging that KQED headquarters are located on the unceded territory of the Ramaytush Ohlone people. We recognize that we benefit from living and working on this occupied land and that we owe a collective debt to its original stewards. If we bring value to your everyday life, I want to encourage you to consider becoming a KQED member. You can find out how at kqed.org/donate. For those of you joining us for the first time, KQED is Northern California's PBS NPR member station. KQED Live is our new multi-platform events program that produces screenings, talks, performances, and food tastings based on KQED's mission to inform, inspire, and involve. Learn more at kqed.org/live. We want to thank the season sponsors that make KQED Live possible: the Asian Art Museum, Berkeley Rap, Comcast Business, and the Oakland International Airport. We are so grateful for their commitment to supporting our mission of civic and cultural engagement in the Bay Area. So your host this evening is Cecilia Phillips, the coordinating producer and on-camera reporter for Check Please Bay Area and its spin-off, Check Please, You Gotta Try This. She has been a part of the Bay Area food scene in many roles, including working under several celebrity chefs and serving as our food tour guide for many years in San Francisco. In her special series, Cecilia Tries It, she scours the Bay Area in search of off-the-beaten-path spots for exciting, culturally diverse culinary experiences that fans can't miss. Please welcome Cecilia to the stage.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into KQED Live. We have another amazing food event for you this evening. This evening is going to be really exciting. The theme for tonight is The Special, Vegan Food con Sazon. So this evening, I'm really excited to go along a journey with all of you and learn more about vegan food and what exactly is Sazon, and also learning more from these chefs who are creating a vegan community within their Latinx roots, and they're also examining the intersectionality of what it means to be vegan in their communities. I first want to thank you all for being here. Doing these live events is really amazing for KQED and our headquarters. I also do want to welcome in all the folks who are watching from home. We have a live YouTube feed that's happening. They're going to have fun there, but you all are going to have a lot more fun here, okay? I also want to acknowledge our producer for this evening. Paloma Abarca Cortez has been working for KQED as an intern, and this evening is her first event that she's producing. I am just so proud of her. I have seen her evolution. I've seen her backstage helping us all out, and this is her brainchild. She wanted to bring these flavors and bring these chefs in to have this conversation. She didn't make my job easy, let me tell you that. This is going to be a highly interactive event. There are going to be more things going on tonight than you can shake a celery stick at, if you know what I mean, okay? It's gonna be a lot of stuff, but we're getting back to our roots, and that's what it's all about, especially when we're talking about vegan food. Tonight, you're going to hear from 4 chefs from 3 different Bay Area-based organizations that make vegan food. We're also going to experience a tasting. The way that they've done that this evening is sort of in the fixed price sort of way, prefix, right? So an appetizer, a main course, and a dessert. So we're going to take you along the journey of a meal. And before we begin all of that, we're actually going to start by introducing our chefs to you in video format, which is, of course, my favorite. Being a producer for television, I'm especially excited about video. We have done an additional part to this evening. So we actually tasked each of these chefs with having a special ingredient, 5 of them actually, to come together and make a dish. Each of them didn't know what the secret ingredients were, and we said, just go out there and make something. And so we're going to see how they can take 5 of the same ingredients, but make something incredibly complex, different, exciting, and show that vegan food is nothing anywhere close to boring, okay? And with that, I'd love to start the video.
Hola, soy Dhani Rivera.
Hola, mi nombre es Luis Flores. Somos Sabor.
Tenemos la comida que es vegana, con raíces latinoamericanos.
Es una conexión entre música, sabores, experiencia.
People sometimes think that plant-based can be boring, and I can attest to that because I've been vegetarian my whole life.
Don't hate just seeing the word plant-based or vegan.
We want to teach people that you can have all these amazing flavors with all these textures and to taste the love in our food.
I always pictured to have a business that I could connect both music and food in the same place. And this miraculously, magically brings us here.
Es como un rompecabezas, como que son little pedacitos en la vida y de repente cuando tienes como esa meta de que quieres compartir tus pasiones, ¿no? Para mí la cocina, para él también es la cocina, pero la música y todas las rompecabezas se conectaron y así es como que hemos llegado por este camino a este lugar.
Well, my name is Lourdes and my restaurant is called Casa, Boriqueña. It's like bringing the ambiance from Puerto Rico here. Just keeping it as traditional as possible, my dishes as traditional as possible. I've always had some guilt, when it comes associated with meat. During the pandemic, it just got me thinking, like, what can I do for my body and still do good for the world? And I decided to just stop eating meat. My business was meat-based. That's a big thing in Puerto Rican culture. Meat doesn't have a flavor. It doesn't. You introduce the flavors to it. So I said, I can do the same thing that I do with pernil, I can do it to vegan meat. No Puerto Rican food is nothing without sofrito. Makes the food taste like heaven. As long as you're using the Sazon, the adobos, you're marinating, you're using the marinades, it's just the same. And when people try my food, it makes them curious to know where the food is coming from, what's the story behind it. So they'll look into it more, into educating themselves and knowing more about our culture and our history.
Hey, this is Chef Raul Medina, and you're at Taqueria Venganza inside of Emporium in downtown Oakland. La Venganza is a modern take on the traditional. That's gonna remind you of your childhood, remind you of what your mother used to cook, but be healthier, be plant-based, cruelty-free. I would probably say my father really was the influence. My father passed away, sadly. He had diabetes since the age of 30. The factory farming here, you don't get the quality of food that you would have had in Mexico, which is farm to table. As a Californian kid, when you go to Mexico, your grandma immediately makes you cut chickens' heads off. After that, you really don't want to eat chicken. So when I told my grandma, she was basically like, you're gonna starve. So she immediately started showing me basically the rundown of everything so I could make myself plant-based food, but in the same style that my grandma made. You can eat the way you used to. You can eat traditionally. You can eat your tacos, burritos, nachos, whatever you want. And it's just as greasy, just as tasty, just as salty. But you don't have to add that cruelty. If you're doing different things from your culture, make a vegan version because you have that sazon, you have that flavor. And that's what we're lacking in the community.
That's your first time seeing the video, right? Yeah? Okay. So you all were given 5 secret ingredients, and we're going to get into that part later of the show. And I'm just so excited to see what those secret ingredients are, because I don't even know what they are. So we're going to find out what you all came up with. But first of all, just to begin, I kind of want to go through and introduce each of you. So Lourdes Marquez-Nau, you have 100% plant-based Puerto Rican food. And then Raul Medina, you do La Venganza, which is tacos and Mexican plant-based proteins.
Yep.
And then lastly, we have Dhani, Rivera, and Luis Flores of Sabor, and you do cosmic vegan vibrations and universal flavors. Welcome in. I think that the best way to begin the conversation is to start very simply, which is, what is vegan food and what is Sazon? How can we describe these things? I mean, Sazon, let's begin there. My understanding is it's kind of like flavor, but it's so much more, right? Does anyone want to kind of begin by jumping out there and telling us what it is?
I mean, I think generally Sazon has so many like subdivisions of what it is, because you have your flavor of sazon of what is, Mexican food or Latin American food or whatever. But you have your grandma's cooking, your mom's cooking, your aunts who have every single, she did it wrong. It's supposed to be this way. It's supposed to be this many chilies. No, it's supposed to be this. Too much salt. What are you talking about measurements? Just do this. And so everybody develops their kind of unique sazon based on their family, based on like this nostalgic flavor that you can't get at a restaurant.
Yeah. So it's kind of hard to quantify or qualify, right? It's more about a feeling, maybe?
A cultural feeling. Like honestly, like what each one of us kind of like gets from our culture, from our past.
Yeah, I would like to say like vibrations for us, and that's kind of like where our company is about. Om is calling those energies, those cosmic vibes from the universe, and Sabor, that's where we really wanted to kind of have a name that people would understand that we're cooking something with flavor. We're not really telling you it's vegan, but it has cosmic, the Om. We put a lot of meditation and thought into the process, and it's vibrations, for sure.
Okay. And Sazon for you, how does it kind of translate?
Well, Sazon to me is basically home. All those flavors that I grew up with, and just making them my own. And that's basically what Sazon is you make it your own and what you want to add to it.
Awesome. So for each of you, I kind of want to make sure that we frame it in a thematic way. So each of you has come to veganism in a very different way, and each of you has a centered part of what you do and the reason for what you do. So you've already mentioned spirituality. I think, Raul, for you, it comes from a political place. And for you, Lourdes, Chef Lulu, as I may call you, right? It's more came from like a health place.
Yeah.
I'd love to kind of chat a little bit about how all of these sorts of things in each of your lives changed how you viewed the way you eat and being vegan. You have been vegan for about 2 years now?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about that shift for you.
Well, the pandemic happened. My oldest son is a vegan, and I always had to veganize dishes. I would see certain videos and the cruelty in animals. So I always had that struggle, and I always was like, let me try it. And I would try and go back and forth. But I was stuck at home. And I was stuck at home, just viewing TV and seeing what's out there. And I said, I want to stop eating meat. So I stopped eating meat, and I had a business that wasn't vegan, and it was predominantly pork. And I said, this has to represent me. I need to, it needs to be a representation of myself. So I decided to go vegan, make my business vegan, and I got a lot of backlash behind that.
What happened?
I got the community, a lot of my Puerto Rican community were really against it. They unfollowed me. I would get nasty messages like, you can't succeed without the pork. You can't, that's not food. And it was really discouraging because I was in a journey on my own, this, newfound lifestyle. And now I'm doing this for my business. So it had me really questioning, what was I doing? And I just decided to say, you know what, I'm going to do what makes me happy, and this makes me happy, and I want to contribute, this is what I'm contributing to my community. And I did it, and I decided to stick with it.
You have everyone's support here. There you go. Chef Raul, I would love to ask you, your journey started a little bit differently. It was maybe always had food incorporated in it, but you had a very different career background.
So I started in immigration defense, and that's an incredibly depressing job. You basically have to tell people to stay home, don't get drunk, don't go out, don't do this, don't do that. It gets to you as a person who's trying to make a difference in their community, because you're not really making a difference. You're basically trying to pay your lawyer's bills, trying to get the rent in order, and you start feeling it. And so I figured, what would my grandparents do? They would go out on the street and they would sell tacos. I was a vegan at the time. My family has diabetes, it runs in the family, so does heart disease. Most Latin Americans, I'm sure, have somebody in their family who has heart disease or diabetes or something. So immediately I knew, my tacos came out of necessity. There were no good vegan tacos, and it was just like a salad on a tortilla. And I don't want that. I wanted the greasy, the heat, the salt, the 3 a.m. behind a taco truck, drunk and eating because you got the munchies, and it's just such an amazing experience.
Yeah, I know it well.
And I can't get that with kale on a taco. I'm sorry, I can't get that with kale on a tortilla. It's good. It's California cuisine. It's not Mexican food. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And that was a big difference. When I came into this, I was like, my community doesn't have this. There's no such thing as real meat, like vegan tacos, vegan asada, vegan chicharrón, vegan beef cheek. And it's lacking. And it comes back to that cultural flavor, that nostalgic flavor that you remember as a kid. I remember going to taco trucks and getting my favorite taco, which was tripe, intestine. One of the most complicated things, because obviously Mexicans ate it because it was the nasty parts of the pig.
Inexpensive.
The Spaniards wanted the better types of cuts, so the more indigenous people got the awful. It's amazing. It's delicious. I remember it as a kid being so good, being funky and weird and just crispy and and I knew where it came from, and I knew it was gross, but I didn't care. And I knew it was unhygienic, but I'm like, this is delicious.
Yeah.
And then you come into the vegan space and you're like, that's not allowed. That's taboo. How dare you? Yeah. I veganized tripe. Everyone questioned the hell out of it, as they should. Like, why the hell are you veganizing intestine? This is weird. Why would you do that? Because it tastes good.
Yeah.
Because I remember it as a kid, because there are so many Mexicans who remember tripe as their favorite taco, not ordinary, but their favorite thing. And while the vegan space can do burger, while they can do nuggets and hot dogs and all that stuff, that's great. But we want a taco. We want something meaty. We want something that is cultural, that sazon, that flavor. Like I said, that nostalgic memory of 3 a.m. eating a taco. That's really what Veganism 2.0 is about.
Right. And being able to be, yeah.
I mean,
they also love what you're doing.
No, because it used to be alfalfa sprouts and kale and this and that.
Right.
And now it's vegan burritos, vegan tacos, vegan beef cheek, vegan tripe, vegan this.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
You've been vegan now for 13 years, roughly?
About 13 years now.
13 years. So, it's been a journey for you as well to kind of get to this point. But your main goals is to not only make it affordable, but also incorporate those flavors and make it healthy. And from the political standpoint, I think you mentioned a lot about like the people who are actually working to source these ingredients.
I think everyone who starts out in veganism starts out with really nice intentions, with thinking about the animals, thinking about this. And they evolve to realize that every single issue that's coming up with ecology, economy, with the food system that are in place, with even something as simple as like the chef culture of thinking that adding salt and pepper to a cut of meat is enough. Like this is a new day and age. Everybody needs to get together and realize, what are these food systems about? The majority of people working in the factory farms are immigrants. Tyson Chicken buses them directly from Mexico. Being in immigration defense, you see this constantly. Because there are work orders, there are work permits, people can come here. They don't get paid in American dollars, they get paid in pesos. They are working the slats in the fields. There's just ammonia from pee and poo and everything from the animals. There's the constant killing, which nobody talks about PTSD, but it's there. And traditionally, my culture doesn't really look towards mental health like solutions. So we harbor that. That gets instilled. Like Sabor said, it's that vibration that stays in with you, that kind of like feeling of what am I doing?
Yeah. So segueing over to Dhani and Luis, you actually were raised basically almost your entire life vegetarian. You two met in a restaurant, so you're married. You have a newborn.
Yeah, baby.
A little
Yeah.
baby.
Yes.
Your baby's adorable. We will also talk about your baby and the influence of your own spirituality and culture within your naming of your baby, which is very important. We'll get to that in a second. But tell me a little bit about, your upbringing being vegetarian and then the spirituality aspect of it, because that's deeply rooted in who you are, all the way from your parents.
Yeah. So my parents, they met at a temple in the 70s in Mexico, and they became vegetarian. And so then my sister and I, we were raised in this atmosphere of a yoga center when people would come from different parts of the world. And I grew up with a lot of Venezuelans, there was Italians, Russians. And people would cook their food, their cultural food, but it all had to be vegetarian, because in the temples you don't cook with meat or onions or garlic.
The specific area that you lived in was very spiritual as well, right? That's my understanding.
Yeah.
The physical area that you were in.
Yeah. So it was a temple in the mountains, and I grew up with a lot of flavors, and in the temple, like we would eat like an arepa with like a puri, which is like an Indian bread, and then we would have curry, and then my mom, she taught us how to make seitan since I was like 10, 11. And so there was all these, like wonderful things that I grew up eating, and people would always say like, oh, like, don't you feel like you're missing out on meat? And I'm like, no, I have like so many flavors, And I think, growing up with all these like cultural flavors, it made me want to make it a mission to share that with people. Because I do remember, for example, we were living in LA for a little bit, and we would go to an Italian spot and would say, oh, do you guys have any vegetarian options? And it was like, we have a salad. And so the concept was very kind of
limited.
Yeah.
I actually want to mention that because I grew up in restaurants, so I was working in restaurants a long time ago. And if a vegan person came in, oh my gosh, the kitchen just lost their minds. It was like, what are we gonna do? Like, we've got some lettuce and a tomato. And so I think it's come a long way since then, right?
Yeah, and also for like, I grew up in Mexico since we moved back there when I was 12 to 19, and we lived in this small, in a rancho, and one of the things that I was able to experience was that a lot of people in the los ranchos in these places, they don't have a lot of let's say like meat and cheese are expensive things. Mm-hmm. So mostly, people, humble people from, these places, they cook with a lot of vegetables. And a lot of the dishes that I grew up around while I was growing up in Mexico too were vegetarian, and some of them, a lot of them were also vegan as well. When we were like in school, they pulled us out to like work in the kitchen, and they're like, "Yeah, you guys are gonna make ceviche," and I was like, "No, the fish." And when I showed up, there was actually, I was like, "Oh no, we don't use like seafood. We make it out of soy product." And then eventually, from other friends in Michoacan, that's where I'm from, people would be like, "Oh yeah, my mom makes the ceviche like that." And so there's, that's one of the things. Then eventually I met Luis, and we were working at a what was it called?
Dropbox.
Dropbox, yeah. We were working at Dropbox, and we started flirting, and and I was.
Well, Luis, were you already vegan? Were you already vegetarian?
No.
Okay.
We used to work at this. Well, first of all, good evening, and we're so honored to be sharing the stage with very talented chefs.
Of course.
And
Tell me about your journey with it. So you met. Were you already eating meat?
yes, I was eating meat. I was actually the chef of the Latin station at Dropbox, and this was all meat. We actually had to cook a different dish every day. We could not repeat our dishes. The Nishta comes in as the new vegan chef, and we started
Flirting, yeah.
We started flirting, yeah. I started helping her a lot with like professional kitchen terms and like third pans, just like kitchen language,
Yeah.
and like helping her reach for stuff, etc.
She's also helping introduce you to
Yes,
vegetables,
exactly.
vegan foods.
So she pretty much the conversion started happening right away. At first, there's a lot of like bullying in the kitchen when there's like you say, like even like vegan customers or like a vegan chef, it's like, why you make it like that? And like, like, oh, it's vegan. And or like she couldn't try like some of the food I made because it had stock meat and or both, right? Yeah. So I started veganizing some of the stuff I would cook so she can try. Like I remember one time I made a pupusa with vegetables, and as I'm walking towards her, the pupusa slips from the plate, and it was the last one, and it was like we already had to, like I was cleaning up, and it was that was definitely not a good feeling. But
it still worked out.
We started connecting, and she was already making like festivals. She had a booth, food booth, which it was called the Vegetarian Blog back then, and she was like, "Hey, there's this festival coming up. We could make good money. I just need some help." And that's how the connection started. I started helping her out in these festivals. I saw how the community was just really like tight and like loving and like really helping us out. And like just help from all over the places started landing towards us, and I was
So
like, "This is a sign."
A sign.
Yes.
Veganism through romance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Great way to do
Yes.
it. I like that. Okay, so one of the things that I kind of wanted to touch upon, right, is this transition from the ideas of how people who eat vegan food, are perceived and the connotations of it. I just wanted to pose a question to all of you. Do you feel like the notion that vegan food is automatically healthy, or is that notion true? Is that just like the idea oh, well, you're...
It doesn't have to be. I mean, that's the thing. It doesn't have to be. It's a beautiful thing.
So basically, not only do you can have flavor, you can have everything that you're, maybe missing, but just not with animal product.
I think at the end of the day, we could say it's cholesterol free. That's fine.
Okay. Let's see here. So I do want to start to begin to get some tasting happening. I think it's time to try some food. Yeah? Excited for that? Okay. So as I mentioned, we're going to be doing a pre-fee or a fixed price or a kind of assigned menu for you tonight, starting with an appetizer. And we're going to be starting with you. And so I'm curious as to what you prepared for your appetizer. You have a dish for us, pastillos?
Yes, it's called pastelillos.
Pastelillos.
So in Puerto Rico, it's called pastelillos, but a lot of people might know it as an empanada.
I veganized it.
Are those terms like kind of interchangeable, but just different for like the region? Regional?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, in Puerto Rico it's called an empanada. I mean a pastelillo. And I just used all like my sofritos, you know, my vegetables and all my seasonings, and I just took some impossible meat and turned it into some really good stuff.
So you've mentioned sofrito as being like super important to your food. Can you describe sofrito? Tell us what it's about.
Well, sofrito is it's onions, peppers, culantro, cilantro, and some ají dulces. So the ají dulce comes from Puerto Rico. You cannot find it in California. So I have it imported here, along with some culantro, which we call recao. If I can't find, you know, if I don't get it, I can also find it at Berkeley Bowl. But
And what is it? It's type of like...
so it's the cousin to cilantro. So you know, the sofrito also has both. It has cilantro and culantro. So that's what makes it. That's what makes the sofrito. So that's the base to all our foods. Like everything starts with sofrito.
Okay, so I think a lot of folks here have had the appetizer passed out. So let's see here. I think if you're ready to dig in, go ahead. Everyone's being so polite. Oh, we're getting the other half of the room here. They're getting their dishes. Okay. In the meantime, your family was already doing vegan food, right? So your son was vegan, is what you
Yes.
mentioned. And so they have a very popular business here in the Bay, Malibu Burgers.
Yes.
You already were kind of, oh, see? Very popular.
Yes.
Was the kind of transition then a little bit easier, or was it still hard?
No, it wasn't, because I actually put my business on hold to help that business. So I stopped doing Casa Boriqueña and I focused on helping, you know, contributing to that. So it really wasn't, you know, too much of a hassle for me. You know, just I started, you know, selling pastelillos through Malibu, you know, just kind of seeing how, you know, people will accept it, and then I decided to transition.
Yeah, and for you being the newest of the group to veganism, how has that been, like the past 2 years?
Well, it's been great. I've been getting a lot of support, a lot of re-encouraging from people. I was talking to him, and he was definitely giving me some good advice. And yeah, no, it's been positive. It, you know, besides what I went through, you know, when I decided to go vegan, but now it's been a really positive outcome.
Awesome. So I think some folks are giving it a try. What is served on the side? Do you have a dipping sauce?
Yes. So we call that in Puerto Rico mayo ketchup, but we call it mama sauce.
Mama
sauce. Yeah, mama sauce. So basically what in Puerto Rico is usually just garlic, ketchup, and mayo. I decided to add 3 other ingredients to it to make it my version. I don't know if I want to tell you guys my secret.
There's always a secret. There's always a secret.
I added 3 different ingredients to it to just make it my own. And
Awesome. As they're passing it out and they're trying the dishes, I do kind of want to keep the conversation going about veganism and like taking it like way back, right? So the idea of people used to only like really dive into like vegetables and foods that were more, as you said, like for people who didn't have the money, like, right? The rich folks had the meat, and then people who had less had to use vegetables, right? But then that tide started to shift. Let's kind of talk about that transition and like where it's brought us to today, right? So veganism is taking off, you know, in so many different ways. And I think it's more of like accessibility to these ingredients that's really becoming part of that shift. Does that feel authentic to any of you?
I mean, yeah, I think for a while, factory farming caused meat to be so cheap that people didn't want to actually cook. Like I said, salt and pepper on a steak and you're easy.
Yeah.
But the actual fact that trying to find good organic vegetables, a varied amount of vegetables, not just your regular tomato, onion, and blah. Mm-hmm. Like that is hard.
Yeah.
Especially in food deserts, especially in big cities, especially places where the term organic isn't even known. Like they have no idea what it even is.
Yeah. I've the facts that I most recently read were that like $38 billion in taxpayer money is fed to promoting meat, the meat industry, right? Continuing on with that. And so to be able to make food that's affordable and accessible to folks that's not meat-centric used to be pretty difficult. But now, do you feel like there's more options for like different types of products like seitan and different sorts of meats that you are creating that people can like utilize and enjoy?
I mean, I think Impossible really like broke waves for a lot of people. I don't know what it is with the tie of watching your meat bleed, maybe that was it, but they really like opened the doors for everybody. Like, I think there's Impossible meat in your pastillas, right? So, like, you can really take those key ingredients, something that would be cheap because of factory farming, but now it's vegan, so maybe you can put a higher price point on there for now. Like, it really is about evolving and showing people that factory farming is really causing a lot of ecological issues, and this is a way to solve a lot of them.
Awesome. Okay, so I think pretty much everybody has had some of the food here. I'm curious, so what are some of the flavors that like pop out to you first and foremost? What immediately are you hit with when you're like taking a bite of this food? I mean, we have the ingredients up here, so all of you should be able to see like what it's actually going in there, but what stands out the most? What flavor profile just hits you first? Yeah, go for it, yell it out. The dough. The dough. So, okay, I'm curious, how do you make the dough taste the way that it tastes?
Well, it's actually, I work with a company out of Florida that gets it, and I get it from them. And they actually are really good when it comes to that. What makes the dough like that is when you fry it, that makes it that crispy. Because the dough is just the dough. Only when you fry it is that it becomes that tasty.
Awesome. Yeah? What other flavors beyond the dough pop out? Yeah.
Comino y ajo.
You
The
taste it.
cumin and the garlic. They stand out and it's very flavorful.
I can smell it from here.
And I think also the texture is really good because people think that the texture is going to be like kind of bland, but it actually tastes like, to me, like it would be like hamburger meat.
Yeah.
So that is very flavorful.
Great. I'm actually going to have the next main course also being passed out so we can kind of get the next course, keep you eating and moving through. I want to just chat with you more about how things have shifted for your career path and the different things that you've done, and then moving into like the business that you have now. So you were popping up in LA, you were popping up here in Oakland as well.
Well, originally when I was here, I was popping outside of my studio, my rent-controlled studio on 14th and Harrison. Not rent-controlled anymore. It's about 3 times what it used to be. Ugh. Can't go back home. But like when I first started out, I was very scared because it was tacos that I'd been making. I'd been taking people on dates and being, hey, would you like this taco? How much would you pay for the taco? You know. And so I was very nervous, being like, okay, I don't have much research, but let's see how it goes. My very first pop-up, there were 30 people there. I sold out, and I felt amazing. I felt, okay, this is, you know, immigration defense is very horrible. It's very, very bad. Like, and with the current administration, like a lot of the administrations lately have just made immigration horrible. It's very, very bad. There are certain countries that can come in here very quickly. If you're from Sweden or Italy, you can come in here very quick. If you're from Mexico or the Philippines or Vietnam or anywhere like that, you are screwed. That gets depressing. And seeing 30 people come at my pop-up, seeing them eat something and be happy and like, that just gave me so much pleasure that I didn't mind the pay cut. You know, it was fine. It was like the third week when I had about 50 people in line that I realized that it's not just something for me, because that's fine, but it really is like filling a hole that there just wasn't enough at the time. And so many people were coming because it was something they remembered. It was that nostalgic flavor. It was that feeling of having a carne asada from your backyard that your uncle would put beer and lime to marinate it with and would give you a little piece off the grill just to taste. Here you go, you know. I miss that more than I miss the actual meat. So making this, I like made sure I'm gonna put beer and lime on it. And I'm gonna put the flavors in the sazon that my dad and then my mom and my grandma used to show me. And once you get those flavors right, everybody feels it, everybody knows it. They have that common ground of sazon, where they're like, this is better than your regular sweet potato taco or your kale, whatever taco. This is meaty, it's delicious, it's smoky, it's unctuous, it's salty. It drips down your, like, that's what it is. That's what I really wanted.
That's Sazon. Okay, so as they're passing this next one out, I would love for you to just begin to start to describe the dish that they're about to get. So this is the main course for the meal here. So what did you prepare?
So this is very basic Latin American carne asada. However, it's vegan and it's made to taste like if it was done in a backyard, done by your family. It has a citric flavor that kind of melds with the smokiness and the greasiness and everything that just creates this kind of umami effect. There's shiitake powder in there for sure. I think the soy sauce, all that kind of comes in. The liquid wheat gluten just creates this other umami flavor that once it's coupled with the acidity of the salsa, the herbalness of the cilantro, that's the taco, that's the flavor. And it hits wholly. It really does taste like my youth.
Yeah. So I'll pose this question to all three of you. For your preparation and planning of ingredients and flavors and things that you're going to use, do you look to other people's recipes? Are you trying to capture what you've known from your past and use those flavors? Or are you creating new things? Are you incorporating all of it together? How does the process work of coming up with one dish that you're going to put on a menu?
A little bit of both. A lot, my mom used to cook a lot. His mom was also a chef, had a catering company too. And then a lot of our foods, like that Michoacan ceviche I was talking about, then he kind of, twisted it up and put seasonal ingredients of our fruits or vegetables that are from local farms that we feature at our restaurant. So for us, it's kind of a little bit of both. Maybe something will start out with my recipe, but then he puts his little twist, and it's a little combo of our love.
I say you gotta feel it. You gotta feel it. Of course, you'll think about dishes that might sell and be popular, but sometimes that's not what you're feeling. So you try to get that information, but still work with your heart. Maybe get a little bit from what you know already, or from your grandma's sauce. But eventually you make it your own. And personally, I don't like to kind of just do the same thing, from another chef. But I'll take an idea. If I see how he cooked his vegetable, I might be oh, I like his technique. I might use that if the time comes.
Okay.
But so, definitely heart base for sure.
Okay. Awesome. And for you,
I'm coming around now. I believed in staying traditional, really to the tradition. But having younger children, well, they're not children, but young adults, they tell me I need to try to do a bit more fusion. So I don't know, I'm working on that, but I really am stuck on my traditional dishes. I haven't really ventured out.
There's nothing wrong with that either, right? Okay, so did everyone get a bit of food? Yeah? Good. What was that? Oh, well, there's a lot of Sazon, right? A lot of flavor.
The full-size tortilla it should be. We made sure to get the full size.
Awesome. As a reminder, we are going to be trying a delicious dessert course in the lobby. Can you tell me, did you make the dehydrated soy meat?
No, so we get that from a Taiwanese company. It's just basic soy meal, but it tastes like soy.
Cool.
So we have to rehydrate for 24 hours in this marinade that my mom taught me. Like I said, it's very citric, a little acidic, smoky, and the flavor, I love it. Anyway.
Does anyone want to throw out one of the flavors that hits them first? What is the first thing that... Yes, you.
It's spicy and has a sweet from the soy. And it's so
No, thank you so much.
You have some fans in the audience.
No, thank you.
Okay. Oh, yeah, please.
Dehydrated soy meat is so amazing. I thought, this is not real meat, but it's delicious.
No, thank you so much. Yeah, like it takes a lot of fat and a lot of like flavor to come in there because like most people will tell you, when you're flavoring meat, you're adding salt, pepper, and different spices. For this, you kind of have such a bland canvas. You really have to build the flavor of meat first, then of seasoning of the meat, then, you know, your whole marinade. And so like that's like, it's really, you'll see soy products everywhere, but it's very hard to make them taste good sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. But you all have been practicing with all of that. Okay, so while you all are enjoying the carne asada taco, let's get into your dish that you brought. So they will be able to have a dessert course in the lobby, which is another little extra bonus. What did you bring for us today?
We brought a tres leches cake, and it's one of the only desserts. I have very like small few desserts that we make, and it's only one of the desserts that we make. Yeah, people ask all the time, oh, you know, what do you use for the tres leches? Because tres leches is a cake very popular in all Latin America, from Mexico, Salvador, Venezuela, Colombia. A lot of people know. A lot of Latin Americans. Puerto Rico, I think, has some tres leches too. And yeah, we use. I used to use soy milk as part of the milks, but because it's nice and creamy. But a lot of people are like, no soy. So then we try to have cater some of our dishes so it's a little bit friendly with no soy and no nuts. So we use oat milk, flaxseed milk, and coconut milk. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Yeah. So was there a recipe that you used? Was it a traditional recipe of your family's, or is it something that you kind of adapted and made your own?
Oh, well, we had to adapt it because of the eggs.
Right.
And I remember when we first started baking with vinegar, because when I grew up vegetarian, I didn't eat eggs. My family didn't eat eggs. We used to use sour cream in replacement, or yogurt in replacement of eggs. But now we use vinegar. And I remember the first time I was like, I don't know if this is gonna work, and so I added extra 5 tablespoons, and maybe 15 minutes later, the oven was smelling burn, and then I looked in there, and the cake was just just rising. I was like, vinegar works. So yeah, that's the combo that we use, vinegar and.
There's a bit of experimentation that I'm sure has to happen in order to get these flavors to work, right?
Trial and error.
Yeah. When I met him, I was I tried to feed him some stuff that was maybe, I don't know if it was seitan or tofu or something, and we were just nah, that tastes like cardboard. That doesn't and I was this is what I thought chicken would taste like. And he's no. It's we're gonna have to redo that recipe like that. And so that, so on.
All right. Did you enjoy? Yay. Okay. So next part of the show is going to happen. We're going to actually bring out the dishes that you all created with your 5 secret ingredients. You brought them here today. Okay. So you were tasked with these 5 secret ingredients, and in a moment we'll have those ingredients put on the screen. We will have the dishes brought up, and then you'll be able to describe what you all did with these 5 different ingredients and what you created. All different dishes. You don't know what each other made, right? Okay, so we'll see what we've done with it. I'll have Paloma bring that up, as well as put the ingredients on there. So if you all want to follow me over to the demonstration table, let's go on over. This is the next part of it. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
Dos gorditas.
2 gorditas, güey. 3 gorditos.
Con una gordita.
All right, so the secret ingredients were mango, tomato, potato, avocado, and spices. Question, how did you all feel when you finally opened up that envelope and you saw what was inside?
Everything was fine until I read mango.
Why did mango throw you off?
Because this is all savory, and then suddenly mango, I was like, what am I going to do with mango? Dude?
Okay. But you made it work, okay.
I made a salsa.
How did you all feel when you opened up the ingredients?
Pretty similar to a lot of the stuff that we have like at a restaurant. So it was like, oh, well, we don't really need to buy more ingredients. So we just kind of.
We're really familiar with like the ingredients just throughout childhood and like growing up. I'm really familiar with all the ingredients. I was like, oh, we'll definitely make something happen. Yeah.
All right, let's start with you, Lourdes, Chef Lulu. Can you tell me what you've made? And maybe there's a reveal moment. Should that happen?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Actually, this is a salad. It is it's a mango, avocado, tomato salad. I wanted to create something refreshing. And it has cilantro in it, it has onions, so it's sweet and savory. And then I created some adobo fries, which I actually just decided to do 2 dishes.
That's okay. You use all the secret ingredients, and then you have the mama sauce?
Yeah, that's the mama sauce. So the mama sauce goes really good with those fries.
Yes. Okay. All right. Chef Raul, what did you create?
I made 2 gorditas, which is Spanish for little fatties. It's going to be masa that's filled with potato and tomato and chile guajillo sauce. I made a little bit of guacamole on the side, and that salsa is a mango chipotle salsa. Because with mango, you need to add some kind of smoke flavor, awesomeness, and boom.
Yes. Okay. I love it. They're beautiful. Look at the grill marks you got on there, too.
That was the final one.
I noticed. All right. And lastly, Dhani and Luis, what did you make with your 5 secret ingredients?
We made a mango, avocado, and purple Cherokee heirloom tomato ceviche, marinated in our house salsa matcha, and with a little bit of soy-free veganese to give it a creaminess on it. You have to have a ceviche with something crispy, so I thought I was originally going to do a potato skin and throw the ceviche on top, but while I was doing it on my head, I just thought it would be cool to put it back on the avocado and then have like the chips, so you can you don't need a spoon, you can kind of just chip it out. Yeah. There you go.
Presentation. Okay. So what they don't know is that, I mean, just like any great competition where you have secret ingredients and you're like making different foods, and you got to have judges who are going to try this stuff. So I think that we should invite 3 people to come up and try some of these dishes. I mean, I want to give the first option to the person in the back who said that the portions were small, but I think what we're going to do instead is we're going to see who would like to try Chef Lulu's dish. First hand up. Oh, I saw it over here. Please, come on up. And if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and present your dish to our first judge. Thank you. And you'll come right in front here. There you go. Front and center. After you. Go ahead. All right. Second person. Oh, hands up. The gordita, right this way. Come on up. All right, and after you. And Lourdes, I'm going to have you come on back. You can hand over that dish to each person who's trying, the judges. Come on up.
Lucky man. All right. Guacamole gorditas there. Amazing.
Oh, she sat down. She's just going to make herself at home here. I can bring the table over to you as well. Okay, and for the third one from Luis, and I think I saw the shirt. I saw the shirt first. It stood out. Yeah, come on up. This is the final one. Oh, and hops up on stage. The excitement. Okay, here we go.
You just use the chip, yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna come over and I'm gonna have you all kind of describe to me what flavors you're getting. Need to get them some utensils and some napkins and some music here. They just set up shop. Okay, what flavors stood out first?
Just like there's a little spice on these potatoes, and they're just crispy. And then you dip them in this yummy mama sauce. It's just incredible.
Okay.
And then this just tastes so fresh. And the avocado, it complements the mango and the tomato all together, just is married together very well.
Yes.
So it's definitely something I would make for a party.
Boom.
I would cater a party for me.
Okay, there we go. All right, and for you, what were some of the flavors that stood out first?
Immediately, the smokiness of the mango, the savoriness of the gordita, I mean, paired with the guacamole, it's perfect.
Okay, all right. Good feedback, all right. And here we go. Did you dip the chip in?
Chipped it out.
Chipped it out.
First you're hit with the creaminess of the avocado, and the sweetness of the mango cuts through that mayonnaise sauce that they made. Finish with the salty chip. That's perfect.
Okay, great. I'm gonna let you all eat a little bit more. I'm not gonna actually have you all judge this because we're not gonna be those people tonight, okay? This is just all about trying more dishes and showing that you can do 3 different, very different things with the same ingredients, right? And it's all vegan. Give our judges a round of applause. All right, I'm gonna have to steal those foods from you back. Okay, thank you. We'll get you a to-go box. Yeah, we'll help you out there. Have snacks for later. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much. Yes, of course. And then we're gonna have our esteemed chefs come on back. I'm gonna finish this. Still eating over here. All right. Let's have a seat.
Adelante.
Thank you so much, judges. You guys lived up to the challenge. Let me tell you, we put you through the ringer, gave you a lot to do. But thank you so much for sharing your cultura, your foods with us. Is there anything else that you want to leave the audience with as far as like cooking vegan, con Sazon, things that are important to take away?
Cooking plant-based is not so difficult. It's actually pretty fun, and we want to encourage everyone to start doing more plant-based cooking at home, and don't be afraid. It's really fun. Yeah.
Chef Lulu?
Yeah, I agree with what he said. I think that we should incorporate that more in our, everyday meals. I mean, at least once a week. A lot of people can't commit to veganism, but you should definitely try to be good to your body and at least introduce, some veganism once a week or a few times a week.
And Chef Raul?
I mean, honestly, I think vegan or not, people should really be coming out thinking, why is my steak so cheap? What makes it so cheap? Who's making it so cheap? Whose labor is making it so cheap? And what are alternatives to that? And that's honestly all we really need to think about, whether it's vegan or not, the food system.
I think that is the perfect note to end on. I just want to say thank you to all of you for coming and sharing the different types of food that you make and showing us all of the different ingredients that you can use to make an amazing meal without meat. As a reminder, please head out to the lobby and try some tres leches cake, please, to finish out your meal. I want to thank all of our chefs for coming in. A big thank you to the booth for running the show. To our producers, Yohan Martinez, Lance Gardner, and of course, Ryan Davis, who runs all of our live events. Thank you so much. And then, of course, last but not least, Paloma Abarca Cortez, whose first event this was. And lastly, to all of you for coming and being here, we really appreciate it. These live events are so much fun. It's so wonderful to gather together and try some amazing food from places that we might not have had before and flavors that we might not have tried. So please keep coming back. They're especially fun for me, so I beg of you. And for all of you at home, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. If you want to come to more events, always visit www.kqed.org/live to see the next events that are coming up in our KQED headquarters. And we will see you all in the lobby.